Well, if it's okay with you, Donna, why don't we get started? How's that sound?
Okay, sounds good.
All right, welcome everybody. I'm Casey O'Brien. I'm with the National CyberWatch Center. Welcome to the How to Boost Female Enrollment in Your Cybersecurity Program. Finally, exclamation point webcast. Just a couple things here. One is we will use the Zoom group chat. Looks like some folks don't have microphones, no problem. We'll use the chat for any Q&A. And Donna wants to keep this very informal. So if you have questions throughout, please feel free to chime in. We're recording this. We'll clean it up afterwards, and we'll post it to our YouTube channel, and you'll get a notification when that's ready for you to share far and wide with your colleagues that couldn't be here today. This is just a slide for our video, so welcome to this installment. I'm the Assistant Executive Director and Co-Principal Investigator of the National CyberWatch Center, and I would like to welcome Donna Milgram and turn it over to you, Donna. I'm going to stop sharing and let you take it from here. How's that sound?
That sounds great. And I'm going to share. Thank you, Liz. I see you're from the Canadian Center for Cybersecurity. That's great. And RN, I'd love to hear where you were from as well, so I could keep that in mind. And let me go ahead and share. Oh, both of you. Okay, interesting. Okay, so,
Looks good. See you in your Google Doc.
okay, good. So, first of all, I am excited to be sharing with you uh, how to boost female enrollment in cybersecurity. Finally, I'm Donna Milgram. I'm with the National Institute for Women in Trades, Technology, and Science, and we have partnered with National CyberWatch for quite a few years. And I have even more examples and case studies of how we've been successful that I'll be sharing with you. Let me go through the agenda very quickly. And I'm going to be actually talking about the top 3 recruitment mistakes, the top 3 recruitment strategies, the WomenTech Educators Online Bootcamp. There'll be a 1-question evaluation, and I'm going to stop and answer your questions along the way. If you stay till the very end, you'll get the Women in STEM program checklist. So again, happy to have you here. We're a small group. And Andrew, I'd love to hear where you're from. I can then cater my remarks knowing where everybody's from. Now, I will be using Slido in this presentation. It's an interactive tool, and there's a couple ways to use it. You can go to slido.com on your browser and put in the event number 4971963. But you can also use your phone with the barcode. That's another way. And as I say, it is participatory and interactive, and we're using Slido. If you have questions, if you put them in Slido as well, that would be great. It has a QA tab. Okay, so a little bit about me. I've been the principal investigator on 5 National Science Foundation grants. And one of them, the Cal WomenTech project, was actually highlighted by NSF for being an exemplary project. It was also highlighted by the American Association of University Women. And interestingly enough, since 2 of our participants are from Canada, I actually spoke at the Cybersmart Summit in New Brunswick in 2019. Whoops, let me go back. I'm going to have to use my mouse instead of my trackpad there. Okay. And I spoke about how to recruit women to cybersecurity. I was also part of the National Initiative on Cybersecurity Education's roundtable that was hosted by New America on women in cybersecurity. And I have done numerous webinars for NICE and also for CyberWatch as well. So, but what I'm really proudest of is my actual outcome numbers. And I'll share a few of them with you. I worked with Fayetteville Technical Community College in North Carolina right before the pandemic in March of 2019. And they focused on 4 career pathways when I did the WomenTech training on site there. And the cybersecurity went from 12 females to 32 in just 5 months' time. And you can see male students also increased from 58 to 101. And I'll be sharing the strategies they used a little bit later in this presentation. Now, in the very beginning of the pandemic, June of 2020, I hosted a WomenTech workshop that multiple schools came to. And while most of Rowan Cabarrus's college was seeing decreases in their enrollment because of the pandemic, they actually ended up with significant increases, and they attribute that to their participation and the Women in Cybersecurity online meet and greet that they held. And so they went, and this was in just 3 months, from 43 women to 71. Male students also increased from 156 to 166, again, in just a 3-month time period. I also worked with Broward College, and I worked with their entire department, which also included cybersecurity. And in about a year's time, they increased female enrollment by 77, male enrollment by 258. So I've worked with other schools as well that have had success. I don't have their exact numbers. I have case studies on Broward College, as well as Rowan Cabarrus. Actually, Rowan Cabarrus I'm writing, as well as Fayetteville. And the case studies are on our website. I also have a personal connection to women in cybersecurity. So Kemi McCauley was my intern from age 14 to age 19. And she, on my recommendation, decided to pursue cybersecurity at the community college. And she loved it so much that she went and got her master's in that area. And she was pretty much a superstar. She actually went into community college starting at age 14. And then she transferred to UC Berkeley, where she ended up with a mathematics degree. And she graduated at age 19. And she then ended up taking a gap year. And ultimately, she went to Johns Hopkins. And what I can tell you is that she's been very successful in this field. She has her own company. You can see some of her clients here on the screen, but it has not always been easy for her. She actually decided to create her own company because she was having a hard time getting time off, actually. You can see her here with her family. And when she started her career, she had her sons were quite small. And she was having a hard time, even when she offered to take unpaid leave, being able to get enough to cover, the time that she needed. And so I recommended she start her own company. She did. She's successful. She has some major clients, as you see there. And her path has not always been easy. And my goal, and I hope you'll help me with this, is to make the path easier for other women in cybersecurity, both in terms of getting in on the education side, as well as getting in on to companies as well. So that is my hope, and that is part of the National Institute for Women in Trade, Technology, and Sciences mission. Okay, so my next slide we're going to skip because there's just a few of us, and I know that we've got 2 people here from a cybersecurity center, and then we have Andrew, who is with a school district. And well, I'll just ask you to write in the chat. Andrew, are you working with secondary or Actually, you know what? We'll just go to this and I'll have you fill it out. So using Slido, which you can use either by the QR code or going in at slido.com. What is your school level? I'll just have everybody go ahead and answer. What is the school level you're working with? And if you're not working with one particular school level, you can put other. Okay, and the screen, K-12, I'm actually the director of technology. Okay, great. What about our friends from Canada? Okay, other. So do you encompass, maybe you could just write in the chat for the other, if you encompass like all the grade levels, let me know. Okay. You work with all the grade levels. Great. What percentage of students are female in your cybersecurity programs? You can just take a wild guess, and this is for everyone. You think it's 10% or less? Maybe it's over 30%, and I should have added one of the others. Okay. It's for your partners. Okay. Maybe 10 to 15%. Liz, if you had to take a guess, what would you guess your partner's percentage is? And then the next question I have for you is really a pop quiz, maybe 11 to 20. Okay, so pretty similar. Okay, so I know that your cybersecurity center is going with colleges. This is a connect the dots question. So if you have a cyber summer camp for girls in middle school, would that be an effective recruitment strategy for a cyber college program? Yes, no, or maybe. Okay, we've got one. I'd love to hear from all three of you. What do the others think? Me, two maybes. Okay. Well, we'll come back to this and at a little bit later in the presentation. Okay, so I'm going to talk first about some common recruitment mistakes. Hopefully you're not making these. It's how not to recruit women to cybersecurity. So recruitment mistake number one is recruiting women to cybersecurity the exact same way that you recruit men. So these are some typical cybersecurity program web pages. Can you write in the chat if you think very many women would be interested in cybersecurity if they came to these web pages? Yes or no? Just write it in the chat. Would women be interested in cybersecurity if they came to any of these 4 web pages? What do you think? No? Okay. What do the others think? Probably not. Okay. So you have to do some things different. We'll be talking about what those are in a minute. Next recruitment mistake. Focusing recruitment efforts on middle school girls. So let me tell you a little story. I got a phone call from a dean of engineering of a 2-year college. And he said to me, you know, Donna, I've been holding a Woman in Engineering Day for 10 years. It gets rave reviews from the participants and, you know, they absolutely love it. He even had a web page and he sent me to the web page and, you know, the participants looked really young. And so I said to him, you know, how old are the participants? So he told me, well, middle school girls. And, you know, he did all the kinds of things that I'm going to be recommending to you. They had female role models come in, they did hands-on activities. But when I heard that they were middle school girls, I said to him, well, do you have any connecting activities between this event and when they would actually be eligible to enroll, which would be several years away because you're a college and they're middle school girls. So there was a long pause. And then he said to me, no, I guess that's why I don't have any more female engineering students. So what he was doing was what I call career awareness. And that is not the same as recruitment. Now, here's the thing. It's a good thing to do career awareness, but it will not result in the kind of numbers that I just showed you that I have helped schools get, where they get actual increases in enrollment and also in retention, and often in just one semester, but definitely in a year or less. So this is the biggest mistake I see over and over again. Most of the strategies are career awareness strategies as opposed to actual recruitment. So does everybody see the difference? Give me a thumbs up if you see the difference between career awareness and recruitment. Okay, Casey, this is probably the fourth webinar Casey's hosted of mine. What about others? Liz, okay. Give me a thumbs down if you don't see the difference. And hopefully you'll see it as I go along. Okay, well, RN is saying yes. Okay, great. So recruitment mistake number 3 is not having a full recruitment campaign. So just having like one flyer and thinking, that says Women of Cybersecurity, and then thinking that's going to be enough to get females to come into your cybersecurity program. The schools that I've worked with have a robust, full recruitment plan that has 12 recruitment template strategies in it that they then fill out. And so you really need to have a robust, unified plan in order to have the kind of success the schools that I worked with did. So what do you do instead? I'm going to give you the top 3 recruitment strategies. As I told you, there's 12 in the plan, but I'm going to give you the top 3 in the time that we have today. And so this is what you want to do instead. The number 1 thing that you want to do is go after the low-hanging fruit. Okay, so who is the low-hanging fruit? Well, the reality is it depends where you are sitting, but low-hanging fruit for everybody is someone who can enroll. Let's say you're recruiting for fall of 2024, someone who can actually enroll in fall of 2024. So no long-term strategies, no career awareness. You have to be very strict about this to have results. So any kind of women in cyber events that you're doing, you only want to target your low-hanging fruit are women who can actually enroll in your targeted semester for recruitment, let's say fall of 2024. And all of the schools in the case studies that I showed you, if you noticed, they actually enrolled more females the very next semester. So if you're going to conduct presentations to middle school students and you're a college, this will not increase your enrollment in 1 year's time. This is career awareness, and it's not recruitment, and it doesn't result in increased enrollment in your program. So when I work with schools in the WomenTech Educators Training and Coaching Program, before we even get to the training, I work with the team and help them figure out the best target audience for recruitment. And this is very customized to the school, but just to give you an idea, if they're a college, or they could be a high school too. I actually have an example I'll be showing you of a high school I worked with later. But they have usually the ability to recruit from within their school. And how that looks in a college, whether it be 2 or 4 year, is often there might be a pipeline course, like an intro to computers course, that you could recruit from as a potential. And in fact, that was a big way that Broward College recruited those additional 77 women into their CS IT department. So you look at all the potential places within the college, also students in a liberal arts major who may not be committed to the major would be another place to look. So you look at your internal pipelines, and you also look at your external pipelines. So external pipelines could look like nonprofits in the community that have IT programs for women, like the YWCA, or there might be at a high school a academy that has female students that could be a pipeline. Or there could be an after-school program, such as with Girls Who Code, and you could see if there's a group in your area, and you could potentially recruit from that group, whether you're a college or if you're a high school or middle school, and find out who's in those programs. So again, this is something I dedicate a whole hour to before the training even begins, so that the school's clear where they're going to focus in terms of target audience before they even get started with the training, because really target audience can make or break your plan. Like we heard with that engineering dean who contacted me, had the right strategy with a workshop, but actually, because he had the wrong target audience, it didn't work. So target audience is really key, and you have to map out and figure out where your lowest hanging fruit is going to be for your particular school and community. Now, I have to say, for two-year colleges who often like to think about high school students as being their pipeline, in my experience, that is rarely the case. And I wrote biographies of 2 role models for Broward College, and I'm going to show you their pictures. Tangi Frederick actually created her own company that includes cybersecurity services. And she came to Broward at midlife after doing a hackathon, which was one of the activities in their recruitment plan. And so, again, someone who came later in life who'd already had another career. Simona, she had another career, and she says, basically, my message is, if I can do it, anybody can. When I went to high school, we didn't even have computers. She ended up as a data analyst after being laid off in human resources when her job got offshored. So often the students in two-year colleges, where the average age is 27 nationally, are older, and often women come into traditionally male career pathways after they have not succeeded in other areas. So these are things to consider. I'm going to show you a little bit later for Andrew how I worked with a high school and helped them get more females into a Java course that they'd gotten an award for a little bit later. Selecting the right target audience for outreach really makes or breaks your recruitment plan. So let me just stop here and see if there are any questions. If you have any questions, you can write them in the chat. Okay, if there are not any questions about target audience, let me go on to recruitment strategy number 2, which is creating a robust female-focused cybersecurity recruitment campaign. So I'm going to ask you to rate these web pages for effectiveness in recruiting women to cybersecurity. And so let me show you the first one. And This is Cayuga Community College. And I'm going to scroll down. We have their degree requirements. They list all their courses. So I'm going to have you rate Cayuga for effectiveness in recruiting women. And let me also put their link in the chat if you want to look at it more closely. So how effective do you think this web page is for recruiting women? 1, not effective, or 10, highly effective? Okay, we've got 1, 7. I'd like to hear from everybody on here. Okay, we've got 2. I'm not going to make Casey participate, but I'd like to hear from all 3 of you. Oh, we've got a 7 and an 8. Who's the third person? Let's get your opinion. Okay, so this school has an average score of 7.5. Now let me show you another school. And this is Hennepin Technical College. I'm going to put their URL in the chat. And so we see a video, which I'll show you in a minute. Are you looking for training that leads to job opportunities? And then this is a school I worked with, by the way. And we've got top-rated IT program, average salary, Joan Bernard, IT faculty, notable women in technology. Then we've got program information, skills required, wages, and then locations. Let's take a look at the video.
I went to nursing school, but even though I did very well in all my classes, I wasn't very passionate about it. I felt like something was missing. And then I said, you know, I really love computers. I looked around the room and it's all men. And there's this myth out there that IT is a male-dominant field. But I never let that get to me because I look at it as equality. If men can study science, so can women. If men can fix a computer, so can women. I applied for numerous jobs and I got hired at Intel Security. I chose to design and teach technical classes because I find that to be very rewarding. 95% of the time I work from home. I'm a virtual worker. I feel I have a very rewarding career right now. I am producing content to help others in their job. Being a woman in IT, initially, it's not easy. It's simple. I'm doing it because it's what I love. I'm doing it because I'm passionate about it. I love fixing things. I can fix a computer, I can build a computer from scratch up. I felt very strong and I felt very proud to be a woman in technology. I'm Shelley and my career began at Hennepin Technical College.
Okay, so now we're going to rate Hennepin's program for effectiveness for recruiting women. How would you rate Hennepin? Okay, we've got 2. And we have a 9.5 instead of a 7.5. So what made, we're going to go back. What made Hennepin's page effective? write it in the word cloud. What did you see that made it effective? A video featuring women in the industry. Yeah, absolutely. It was welcoming. It showcased women working in the field. It referenced women being in the field of study. Yeah, there were multiple elements in that video. She also worked for Intel, which is well known. She specifically said that she got her start at Hennepin. And man, she was the perfect role model because she had been in a traditionally female area that she didn't really like, which was women in nursing. And then she made the switch. And that's exactly what Liz said, that she didn't plan to get into the field, but she realized she didn't really like nursing. So, whereas if we look again at the other page that got rated lesser, it's really mostly about the requirements, what the courses are, and it uses a lot of jargon that those only familiar with the industry would know. There's not anything that talks about really the nature of the work or how excited a student is. And it's pretty typical of most web pages, but if we want to be effective in recruiting women, this is part of a female-focused recruitment campaign, is having your program landing page be female-friendly, as Hennepin's is. So there are many components of how you can be female-focused in a recruitment campaign. And here's a snapshot from the recruitment plan. And so I'll just go over some of these to give you a sense of it. Holding a woman and online meet and greet, which I'll show you an example of in a moment. Holding one in person, as Fayetteville Technical Community College did, and also a high school that I worked with did. Having a woman female-focused roadshow if you're going around to different schools, talking about opportunities. I actually worked with a college that made a presentation to a high school program specifically for dual enrollment. And we worked with the coordinator of that program and the counselor, and we were actually very successful in getting many students to sign up from the high school via that dual enrollment program. If you have a career table, you want to have a female role model banner in Women in Cybersecurity. You might want to do an event within an event. So for example, I helped in San Diego, a college, San Diego Mesa, go to almost half females in GIS. And their primary strategy was they had a woman in GIS panel within a GIS day every year. And that was their primary way of recruiting. You might have a specialty event like a hackathon. So these are examples of female-focused recruitment campaigns. In the WomenTech training, I go into detail about how to do this and also have examples of what other schools have done and sample agendas. And in the coaching sessions actually help with coming up with the agenda for your school. Now, another piece of that is having female-focused outreach materials. And so that includes an email campaign, maybe doing an Eventbrite, definitely doing an Eventbrite for an event that you would be having a Women in Cyber event, having personal encouragement or fact sheets or talking points about women in cybersecurity, and then having program web pages like we just saw that are female friendly, having a variety of types of outreach collateral. We also develop these materials for schools, so we're able to share. Let me go back. So we're able to share with schools actual materials that have worked in other schools that we've worked with specifically, including in cybersecurity. So this is all part of a female-focused campaign. Okay, so now any questions before I go on to strategy 3? Okay, if there aren't any questions. So one of the things that I highly recommend is having a Women in Cybersecurity role model event. And it's one of the most effective strategies. And recently, I worked with a college that in their very first event had 160 women register for the event, and 60 actually showed up, and a number of them registered at the end of the event. I still don't have the numbers in yet from fall 2023, but that was their very first time out. And both Fayetteville Technical Community College and Rowan Cabarrus used having an online Women in Cyber event. Fayetteville did both online and in person, and other schools that I've worked with have been doing them online. It's a lot easier to get female role models when you do it online. So having a Women in Cyber online meet and greet, and this is something I give you step-by-step instructions to do in our WomenTech training, is something I highly recommend. I want to share with you a snippet from the Ron Cabarrus's meet and greet, Women in Cyber meet and greet. Now, this was done in the beginning of the pandemic, as I said, and people were not that familiar with using Zoom. So they have it on gallery view, and you'll see that male students also attended, which was fine and is often the case, because people ask us, well, what about men? Can they come? Sure, they can totally come. And they had a dual goal of more women, which they succeeded in. I shared their numbers earlier, but also of having African-American women, but they didn't have any graduates from their program. And because they did it online, I was able to connect them with a friend of mine who lives in my town who wanted to volunteer. And you also get to see how she handles it. And I prepared her, and that's the other key thing, is that you need to prepare the role models in advance. I meet with them twice. I send them a video, I send them talking points, tell them what to make sure to include, what maybe they should leave out. And so then they're able to do a great job, because we have to take into account that these role models, are working in a technical area. The number one fear people have is of public speaking. And so it's important to prepare them so that they will feel comfortable and do the best job possible for your school. So here is the role model, who my friend Faye, and I have her talk about how even though she wasn't in the program, well, I'll let you hear from her.
Be here and speak with you about my career and how my path has taken me to where I am today. You just heard about my education, but I wanted to start off by saying that I really, really appreciated the stories from Janet and Tracy. Their stories really resonated with me, because I started out in cybersecurity about 10 years ago, a little over 10 years ago. I spent the last 10 years at a very large payments processing company, the largest one on the planet. And I started off there actually as an admin assistant. I had, right after high school, I didn't go to college. I got married, I had a son. And a little bit after that, I got divorced. And so I was a single mom raising a son. And my salary at the time, I was an admin assistant, and it really wasn't enough to support my son in the manner I thought he should be supported. So I started looking for to increase my education. So I would take a class here and a class there at the local community colleges. And over time, you know, my general ed credits started to build up. But again, I didn't have a college degree and I was still working as an admin assistant. So I ended up going to this company, started as an admin assistant there. There was a manager in technology who left. I was in the cybersecurity team at the time. And there was a manager there who left. And my job was to answer phone calls and schedule meetings and to distribute reports. So when this manager left, they were shorthanded and they had trouble filling his position because, you know, information security professionals are in high demand. So while they were waiting to fill his position, they asked me if I would gather information for the reports. So I started gathering the information for the reports in addition to distributing them. And I got curious and I started reading the reports. And I thought, you know what? This is not so hard. I'm interested. I want to know how to program. You know, it doesn't look that hard. And so I started taking courses in technology again at the local community college. And over time, I had some really good support from the people around me, and they supported my education. And through that journey, I ultimately went and I got my 4-year degree. But one of the things that I wanted to share with folks here on the call with me is that I wish there had been a program like the one that's offered here, because if there had been, you know, my path would not have been so piecemeal. You know, I had to put it together myself. And had there been some kind of a program that offered, you know, the courses and a kind of a straight path, I think my path would have been a little bit easier.
And now she is a VP in a bank in cybersecurity, by the way. So, you know, this is an example of a role model who really had no background, was working as an admin, and that's often the case. In fact, there are a lot of women who have cybersecurity duties as admins. That's also a good place to potentially look for target audience. But having this kind of female focused event is a really important strategy. So I kept talking about a high school that I worked with, and this was in December 2019. And they had gotten a grant for an online Java course. And they actually had some very high prerequisites. This high school, which had, it was a school district with 2 high schools. And so we identified the women who would meet the prerequisites, who could take this new course that was developed under a grant. And it's actually all the women you see in the picture. 100% of them ended up enrolling in this course after a ladies who latte night. And the instructor provided special invitations hand delivered to them to help them, you know, feel like, wow, this is a big deal. And there were beautiful invitations. And they were lucky because it was December, and a student who had graduated and was, you know, in college was back on her break, and she came and spoke, and she talked about how useful it would be to all of them to have Java skills, how they could work part-time while they're going to college, using their Java skills. And 100% of them ended up signing up for the online Java course. So this is strategy number 3, having a female-focused career event. Okay, so would you like to hear about the system that has enabled these schools to have success? And again, remember, stay to the end, receive the Women and STEM program checklist. Okay, Liz says yes. So, you know, this system is something that I have developed in my, oh gosh, don't tell anybody, but almost 40 years in the field. And I work with teams of key stakeholders in a school. And what's great about that is then it's not just on the cyber program to do the outreach. And I'm going to show you in a minute who's on a team. So I work with school teams of key stakeholders. Before the training begins, I have a WomenTech data dashboard that the school populates for baseline numbers. And also sometimes I can see if students are persisting or dropping off between particular classes, on the retention side of things, and able to pinpoint issues. When I'm working with schools on a contract basis and customizing it to their school or school's district or system, then I also do an assessment so I can understand how they currently recruit and help them with best figuring out their low-hanging fruit in advance of the training. And in the training itself, it's 2 half days when you do it online for recruitment, 2 half days for retention, or in person, 2 full days. And within those days, you actually create your recruitment plan. I showed you a snippet of the plans before. There's 12 strategies on recruitment, 12 strategies on retention. Those fluctuate a bit because I actually customize them when I'm working under a contract with a particular school. I also develop, I have a Woman in Cyber bibliography, which I update, that underpins a training. I have a cyber version of our WomenTech training in which I am primarily using cyber examples. And so it's customized to cyber. And so that's part of the system. The other part is that once you leave the training itself, if it's a customized training and if we're going deep and just working with one school, then I may facilitate the plan and the training, and then we have 10 coaching calls for follow-up. If I'm working with multiple schools, I can work with up to 4 different schools in one training with teams of 6 to 10. When it's just one school, there might be 18 or 20 people, sometimes only 10 people when I'm doing the facilitation. So it's important that the teams of key stakeholders get this professional development, but there's also coaching calls for implementation. I used to just do training, but now I only do training with coaching calls to support implementation, whether that be to help with figuring out the event or reviewing the outreach materials or helping with, I had, for example, a call with an important industry member with one school because they were requiring recruitment in such a way that that we could see that there were no females in that pipeline. And so that wasn't going to work. So those are the types of things coaching calls are used for. There's also access to unlimited email for 6 months after the training. And the course materials include over 100 pages of both example outreach materials in all these areas, but also I've developed a number of guides to help, like guides with writing copy for the web pages. I have a whole 1-hour asynchronous module that's on creating a WomenTech meet and greet online and all the specifics with that. So that's all part of the WomenTech system. And the team of key stakeholders need to also receive professional development so that they know how to create an effective plan. So an example in cyber of a team of key stakeholders are, the administrators, the department chair, the instructors, lab assistants. It could be counselors and advisors, career service providers. You might have a cybersecurity employer from your advisory board. This is an over-inclusive list, but it gives you a sense. Those internal recruitment sources, which could be your intro to computer class, it could be continuing ed, it could be ESL, or externally, it could be your state's workforce board, it could be one of those high school after-school programs that I talked about, like Girls Who Code. So it could include a female cyber student. So this is going to be who would be your team of key stakeholders, and figuring out the most effective stakeholders is part of a service that I offer when you decide to do the WomenTech Educators Training. And the great thing about it is that now it's not just often cyber departments. The one that I mentioned earlier that I worked with this year, that had 160 registrants and 60 actually show up live for their first Women in Cyber event. It was really just 2 people in the department. So there's no way that the chair and the one other instructor could carry out all these strategies on their own. But then when we had all these other people from the team participate, and also in the plan, if you noticed, we have a lead and a co-lead for all these strategies and a timeline. So other people in the training end up taking on some of these roles. So it's not just 1 or 2 people in the cyber department. Now, I know 4-year colleges will have larger cyber departments, but often for 2-year colleges or for high schools, we're talking about 1 or 2 people. So now you suddenly have a team of people that are helping you, and it makes it possible to carry out these strategies. So this is a testimonial from Michelle Levine at Broward College, and she says, the WomenTech Educators Training got us thinking intentionally about who we're going to target for outreach, how we were going to target them, and how we would follow up to make sure we had actual results linked to the different programs and events that we were holding. In a year's time, we'd increased female enrollment in our IT and CS departments from 149 to 226 female students, and male enrollment also increased from 751 to 1,009 male students. Whoops. And she says, I think getting together as a team with intention, because we're all so busy, and developing a written plan that we could stick to was what made the difference. It made us really think outside the box and got us more creative about the ways we could reach different demographics and teach our courses. I don't think we could have done it if it wasn't for the WomenTech training. I have a very detailed case study on our website with Broward College. Also, I have held online conferences where I interviewed the key and co-leader, including Michelle, and that is also on our website. Our STEM Success for Women Telesummit is within the presentations. Plus, on our top menu, we have our case studies if you want to look at more information on Broward as well as Fayetteville. Fayetteville actually made a video of the training, including after the training. You don't see any footage of me, I'm in the background, but they interviewed the instructors and the administrators, and you get a little footage of their Women in Cybersecurity, WomenTech Talk as well. So you may be wondering, will this work for 4-year colleges? I've also worked with Purdue College of Technology, and they increased from 539 to 676 females. So if you are interested in WomenTech training at your school, I am going to put my calendar URL in the chat, and I would be happy to talk with you. I have a little bit of time in the next couple of weeks before I go to Washington, D.C. to present at the Advanced Technology and Education NSF conference. And so there is my schedule in the chat. And here is our one person evaluation, one question evaluation. Did you learn new strategies to recruit women to your cybersecurity program today? Nope, or yes, definitely. If you could fill that out. Oh, okay, yes, okay, great. And okay, good. And if you would like to receive the free gift of the program checklist, if you want to chat me privately, your name and email, I would be happy to, right after we get off the webinar, send you an email with our program checklist. It's a 4-page PDF. It's normally only used within the WomenTech training. but I would be happy to send it to you. My contact information is Donna Milgram at iwits.org is our website. And if you want to email me, you can do that at training@iwits.org. And here is our website. Okay. Thank you so much. If there aren't any remaining questions, then I will thank Casey for sponsoring this webinar. Thank you, Casey. And I will thank you for attending. And those of you who are watching after the fact, thank you as well.
Yeah, and just before people jump off, thank you, Donna. And so a couple just miscellaneous items. Check your inboxes for future webcast invitations, also including when we make this cleaned up recording available on our YouTube channel. And if you're not already, you should consider becoming a member of the National CyberWatch Center. And I posted in the Zoom group chat the link to that. And again, thanks to Donna and for our participants. I hope you all have a good rest of your day. Take care. Thank you.